Hey everyone, this is Ted from GoHighLevel Kickstarter, and in this video I'm going to show you how to build Facebook lead magnets that actually convert. This is part of the execution journey in the Hybrid SaaS 4.0, and it's all about using smart research, AI, and visual strategy to craft Facebook lead magnets that are effective, eye-catching, and lead to conversions. Now let's get started. So the topics we'll be going over today will be researching your lead magnet and designing your lead magnet. So the ultimate goal of your lead magnet is to get conversions. And how do we get there? It's with good research and good design. So we can start with researching your lead magnet. What's the goal here? It's to gather competitor insight and to use AI effectively to create the resources you need to create your irresistible lead magnet. So start off with step one, how to quickly judge a good ad. This will be helpful when you're researching competitors and looking for good examples and things to save in your swipe file. So we can do this quick test here to see if an ad is good. A, does it stop the scroll? It should have bright visuals, bold text, and an eye-catching layout. Is the message clear and valuable? Does it solve a problem or offer a strong benefit? If you're targeting real estate agents, offering a strong benefit such as $0 ad spend is something they'd be very interested in. So you want to look for messaging that provides instant value and solves a problem that your audience faces. Next, is this next step obvious? Is there a clear action to take? Is the call to action button prominently visible in the ad and easily clickable? So if we look at this ad as a whole, we see that there's very clear symbols for who the ad is targeting. There's a clear copy here stating the offer $0 ad spend. And then there's a button here that says try now. And with our copy together, this should create an effective ad that your audience, real estate agents, will be interested in. So if the answer is yes to all three of these things, as you're looking through your ad library for examples, then you're going to want to save the ad. So let's look at some examples here of good and bad ads. So this is what your ad will look like when it's live on Facebook. The call to action button is programmed into the bottom right side, so you're going to want to design your graphic accordingly so that the audience's eye directly goes to that point. And here's a little test you can do to see if your ad is effective. You can zoom out a little bit, and if your text is still legible, then that means this is a good ad design and it's very clear. A lot of people will be using different devices for scrolling Facebook, such as their phone or their iPad, their computer, things like that. And so you're going to want to optimize the design for all platforms. And so all the text should be with a big headline, a clear offer, and then a well-positioned call to action. As you can see here, this free ebook right here is the value that they provide, and the action that you can take is download now. Or it's a real estate photography handbook, as you can see here, very legibly. And there's even some example photos here. So there's a big headline, there's a clear offer, and a well-positioned call to action. It checks all the boxes. And here, let's look at the bad example. What is wrong with this photo? Everything is one jumbled mess. There's no distinction between sections, and there's no hierarchy and visuals. So first of all, it's too cluttered. There's too much text. Even zooming in really closely, it's hard to actually read all this text. And the 7 most expensive mistake home sellers make. Are you making one right now and losing up to $35,000? Download the free ebook now. As you can see, there's way too much text. I'm sure you can shorten this to something that is more eye-catching and presents the value up front. So this is definitely a bad example. And the call to action is weak as well, as it's located in the center here, but the button is actually here. So it's a little confusing for people and less intuitive. So that leads to less clicks and less conversions. That's why, as you can see here, the call to action is the most important part of the ad because it directs the audience's next action. So it's the whole reason we're running these lead magnets in the first place is to get that click. And so your design should provide enough value and grab the audience's attention enough to direct them towards this click here. All right, so let's move on to step 2, conduct competitor research. So the main tool we're going to be using for this is Facebook Ads Library. These are going to be ads that are currently live on Facebook, so you can see that they're working because people are spending money every day allocating it to Facebook ads to have these lead magnets shown to their audience. And all these resources are going to be used to gather ideas for offers, hooks, and visuals for your lead magnet design. So for Facebook Ads Library, let's start off by visiting the library and search for keyword or competitor name. And we can do that together here. Simply go to Facebook Ads Library. Then you can set your location to the United States. If you want to see ads in English, or if you want to just see what people are running around the world, you can press all. Add category, you're going to want to just do all ads, and you can search by keyword. So as we're conducting competitor research, let's look up a specific offer, for example. We just want to sort by all for these, and then A topic we would want to look at competitors for example, is real estate agent leads. And since we're going to be designing graphic images, we're going to be wanting to sort by those same type so that we can have direct inspiration. And then we can see here some examples of what other people are running for ads. And then you can zoom out a little here, and then just at a glance, you can see what catches your eye as you scroll down here. And as you can see, a lot of these designs have been running for just a couple days. Today is filmed on the 11th, and this is started running on the 9th. You're going to want to look for ones that have been running a little longer. And these seem a little cluttered too. So you're going to want to look for some more visually appealing designs. So we can take a look at this one, for example. This one catches my eye. It's been running since April 6th, so just a little under a week now. And his face is clearly prominent here. There is a join now at the top. The only thing this is missing is a call to action on the bottom right, but the graphic design elements are well done here. It's eye-catching, and you can see that there's a headline for real estate agents. So this is one of the better ones, but we can keep looking. You can see how, at a glance, a lot of our competitors are running unoptimal ads based on just the simple design principles here. So we're going to be looking for the outliers that are performing very well in Facebook. Okay, this one here, for example, looks strong. It's been running since March 11th. Wow. So for a month now. So you can tell that this is an effective ad. So let's take this as an example. So why is this a good ad? First of all, let's look at the copy. So this follows a classic direct response flow. It starts with a strong hook. Real estate agents. Are you missing out on potential listings from within your database? That also includes a common pain point. Real estate agents that are missing out on potential listings. So it's a call out to the audience right here. It's also addressing the pain point right here. And it's introducing the solution, which is the Connect app, the one that's running the ad. Your secret to more meaningful and relevant homeowner conversations. So then you're offering your service as the solution to this pain point here. And then you're going to be listing your benefits here like they do. Connect your database, identify prospects, tailor-made insights, save time, build trust, stay ahead, elevate your real estate game. And then they include a strong call to action at the end. Click learn more and sign up for a free 10-day trial today. So this is also a good call to action because it's immediate, it provides instant value, and it gives you all of the tools you need to take the next step forward, learn more and sign up. And let's take a look at the image itself. So the logo is here, or prominently. Streamlining your prospecting and win more listings. So that matches the copy of the ad right here. This lead magnet's goal is to generate more listings for the real estate agent. That's the service that we're trying to provide. So going back to the image design here, the title is very easily legible with the main offer present. Streamline your prospecting and win more listings. Join 350 plus New Zealand agents using text message to win more deals. So this is a form of social proof that they're adding. And then the call to action right here, which is pointing to the phone, which this could be more optimized if it's placed in the bottom right corner to match this learn more button here. But overall, this is a good lead magnet example, so we should save this. Another tip for designing your lead magnets as well is to include very prominent symbols and images that people would recognize, like an iPhone or map pins, things like that, so that there's a familiarity with your audience as soon as they see your ad. So they'll stop as they're scrolling through their feed. All right, so now that you get a gist of how to use Facebook Ads Library, you would essentially repeat the same process. You're going to want to look for long-running ads on Facebook that are in the same niche as you or are using the same offer as you so that you can easily see how they structure their lead magnet. And we can look for one more example here together. And once we determine that this is an ad we want to save, I would recommend using a Word document or a Google Drive to organize your saved ads. For example, we would want to take all their copy here and save it somewhere secure that we can use for a reference later, as well as download this image here and save the links to their website. So we can also look through their website for some inspiration on some designs, especially if they're operating in the same niche as us, which it looks like they are. They're offering SaaS to real estate agents. So we can look through their website at a glance here just to see what's working for them. And then you're going to want to save this website link to that sticky note as well. And we can even attach the image directly into our sticky note for reference. This will be important for later for conducting your research. So I would save and compile a list of relevant competitors to have as a reference. The next tool we're going to be going over is spy tools. These are other platforms such as AdSpider, BigSpy, or AdCreative.ai, and they're used to find the top performing creatives in your niche. And they also offer a variety of AI generation tools as well. So I'll quickly go over one of these websites, but we're mainly going to be sticking to Facebook Ads Library and ChatGPT for our AI tools and competitor research. So I'm going to be teaching you how to use AdCreative.ai. And this is a tool for helping generate brand assets and helping analyze competitors. It will also provide you feedback after you finish your design. So the tool we're going to be covering in this lesson is going to be the Inspiration Bank. So this provides an example of ads from all over the place, different platforms, different countries that you can take a look. You can categorize by niche here too. For example, real estate, and then we can filter by different platforms here, Facebook, Instagram. So we can try Instagram ads this time for research purposes. And then for types, we're going to be looking for image ads. And then you can also take a look here to see some examples of designs. So you can see that there's only one Instagram ad example here. But if we go to Facebook, there's quite a bit of ad examples. So this is just an additional tool to use, but your main focus is going to be the Facebook ads library. You can also save some examples from here. This site has a direct integration to save as inspirations. You can write, for example, go to lead magnet example 1, and then this can be accessed later. And this is a good ad because there's a call out, there's a clear headline and offer, and then there's a clear call to action in the bottom right here. The text in the middle could be definitely optimized to be easier to read, but overall, this is not a bad ad. Okay, next we're going to be going over profile mining, which is essentially just using Facebook native tools to find information about competitors. So for example, here we can find a real estate agent in our area, and then we can go to about, and then page transparency. And then you can see this page is not currently running any ads. So what you can do is you can reach out to this person and offer to run their ads for them. And that's potentially a client right there. For example, too, if you find a competitor in your area and you can see they're providing a similar offer to you, such as a free ebook for real estate, you can go to their about and then page transparency, and you can see this page is currently running ads. So then you can take their name and go back to that Facebook ads library here, and you can go ahead and search their name, and then you can see the exact ads they're running here. And you could also take this ad, see ad details, and you can copy the copy and then start building up your example templates. And yeah, you're going to want to save at least three different good examples to have as reference. Just easily right here as you're building your own lead magnet design. So that is the profile mining stage. So once you've searched Facebook ads library for some good competitors, we're going to want to create a swipe file compilation of everything you saved, organized in one place so you can easily find it and refer to it later. So here we're going to be organizing it in a Google Doc. So I simply took the copy from their Facebook ad, copied it here, and then put in their picture. And this was all found with Facebook ads library that's free to access for everyone. So you would want to start compiling your swipe file. You're going to have everything all in one place ready to refer to. So if you ever want to use this copy and rephrase it for your own, or you want to refer to this design, any of the elements in the design, you can come back to this one organized place with everything ready for you. And once we have all this together, we're going to want to gather our AI tools to start building the design. Okay, so step 3 is to leverage and build smarter with AI. Once we have a swipe file with competitor ads all gathered together, along with the copy they use for the ads, we can start building our own. So the first step we're going to want to do is start with our templates. So we have a document full of templates here. We have 6 different offers that you can steal from and adjust accordingly. And so the offer that I'll be working with in the example today is listings with AI. So the first step you're going to want to do is go back to this document here, take the prompt, put it into ChatGPT like so, and then we're just going to want to fill in the blanks. So you want to insert the lead magnet copy here. We're going to take this one here and copy it. Similarly, you can do this with a competitor's copy that you like and an offer that you're going to be applying for your lead magnet. And then you're going to want to place it in the bracket here. And then you want to insert the audience type. So our audience for this, for the AI listings, is going to be real estate agents. Okay. And then we're going to wait for the response. We're going to want to check the response too to make sure that everything's okay. So we can start with the title, real estate agents, finding a smarter way to get listings without the hustle. This is a little wordy, so we're going to want to tweak the response. But let's see if it checks out all the bullet points first. This is addressing the pain points. Tired of cold calling, door knocking, or chasing unqualified leads that go nowhere. Here is addressing the audience, real estate agents. Or here's the offer. What if you can consistently unlock 30 plus property listings every month using a single AI-powered tool? Now that seems pretty enticing. And we also list our benefits here. We built a hands-free system designed for agents like you too. And here are the list of benefits. This is how top-performing agents are scaling fast without burning out or hiring a marketing team. So this is the benefits you provide, and the desired outcome is they want to be like top-performing agents. And this is also another strong sentence to add. Only pay when it works. And there is a strong call to action at the bottom. Click learn more to see if your area is still available. So this also creates a sense of urgency here. But the call to action is a little vague. So we're going to want to address all these points when tweaking the prompt. There's no catch-all answer for tweaking ChatGPT prompts. We're going to want to just keep a few basic principles in mind, such as these suggestions. Make the language more natural and less AI. Remove the emojis. Many people use ChatGPT and keep all the emojis in formatting, and it's very easy to tell that it's ChatGPT that way. So you're going to want to make your responses sound more natural. Then you're going to want to add the clause, format for easy readability for Facebook ad. So you're going to want to give it some context where it'll appear, as well as some notes. As you can see that there's some formatting errors here. Like this should be down one line, as it's a bullet point list. So let's try that for now and see what response we get. Real estate agents, there's a better way to get listings. Sick of cold calls. It's essentially the same copy, but it's a lot easier to read now. These quick statements are very enticing as they're providing benefits as well as addressing pain points. And yeah, so this would be an ad copy that's good to go. So once you get the response that you're satisfied with here, you're going to want to save it to a Google Doc to have as reference. And then this is going to be your main lead magnet copy. And this is going to be placed in the Facebook post and not in the image itself. So once we have this ready, we're ready to start creating the other elements of the design. So what is the format for a good lead magnet? A good lead magnet has an attention grabber, an offer headline, and a call to action. These are the three basic elements that every lead magnet should have. So now that we generated the main ad copy that will be going in the Facebook post, we need to generate the three ad copies that will be going in the lead magnet design itself. So that's going to be the attention grabber, which is usually at the top, the offer headline, and then the call to action. So we're going to be using these prompts to help generate it. The first prompt is right here. You can copy and paste it directly into ChatGPT. So the only thing we're going to want to change is the insert audience type. That's going to be real estate agents. And then the lead magnet copy you're going to get right here that we created earlier. You're going to paste it right here. And this output should provide you with attention grabbers. So here are some that you can use, for example. And we can take this entire list and we can go here in our doc. We can paste it like that and format this to be easily readable. And now we have a list of copy that we can use. And then we're going to want to repeat the process for the other parts of the copy here. So this is going to be the prompt you want to use to generate your headline. So first of all, we want to copy it here. Then we want to paste it into ChatGPT. And then we're going to want to change this. Insert niche, so that's going to be real estate agents. And insert lead magnet copy. This is going to be the lead magnet copy we have here in the beginning. And then we can paste it into ChatGPT. And this will give us our offer headlines to add into the copy. So these seem pretty good. Lead sent to you, no cold calls, listings on autopilot, 30 leads monthly, 0 upfront cost, more appraisal. So these are some highlight words that you can include. So you're going to want to go to your lead magnet design page here where we have the attention grabbers, and then we're going to want to add in the next section, which is the author headline. Then we can paste our examples here. We'll bold this like this. And the formatting. So here's some examples of the copy. Okay, now all that's left is to generate the call to action text. So we can copy this prompt here, and then fill in the blanks like last time. Targeted at real estate agents. Same here. Real estate agents. And then the lead magnet copy. We're going to be getting from here. Yeah, and then now we have your example of short actionable call to actions, which you can have in a section here. Call to actions. Now you have all the copy ready to start designing your lead magnet. The next thing you're going to need is going to be an example layout. So we're going to just simply copy this prompt and then paste it into ChatGPT here. And then we're going to replace all of these with the copy we generated here. So we're going to pick some copy for our final draft here. So we want one attention grabber. I'm going to do real estate agents stop chasing. And then we're going to do one offer headline, which is 30 leads monthly, 0 upfront cost. And then we're going to do one call to action, which is get listings now. Okay. And so then once we have chosen these for our lead magnet design copy, we're going to fill in the blanks here. So insert attention grabber. That's going to be real estate agents stop chasing. And then insert offer headline, which is going to be 30 leads monthly, 0 upfront cost. And then insert call to action, which is going to be get listings now. There you go. And then one more time. And then for the niche is going to be real estate agents. Then we wait for the results of our design here. So we have our final design output here. This, of course, isn't good enough to use as a final design, but it's good enough to use as a reference that you can include here under your template examples. Just want to format your assets all in one place. And if you want to make some changes to this too, you could always insert some of the files that you got from your competitors that we downloaded earlier. So we can try that now. You can modify the design to be more eye-catching and the text to be more easily readable. Mimic the design principles of this example photo, of this example ad. So this is how we can leverage AI tools to quickly create assets. So after inserting our competitor's image here as a good example, this is what we end up with, which looks a lot better than this initial image already. And we can go ahead and download that. And obviously we're not going to be using their logo here, but this is just a reference to have in your library of assets. And this in itself is already not a bad design. And just changing some text around, you're already good to go. So this is the benefit of having some AI template examples. It helps give you a structure and a feel for where to start. And so then we can go ahead and move on to the next step, which is AI asset generation. And so then the goal of this section is to create graphic design assets for you to use to make your lead magnet. So if you look at this, for example, what are the elements in here? We have the text, we have the call to action button, we have the person, we have the icons, and we have the background, right? And so then these prompts will help you generate each part of that design, all the essential items you need. So we can start with the call to action. We can go ahead and just copy and paste this prompt here into ChatGPT. And then the call to action text that we want to be using is the same as the design, get listings now. Get listings. Okay, that was pretty clean to me. It's on a transparent background as well. So we can go ahead and go here to where all of our information is stored for this first draft. And we can go to assets and we can add that image here. And now this is usable for every future lead magnet design you do. And you can easily generate more with just a couple of sentences here from the prompts that we have provided. So let's try another one. We can do the prompt for the main person in the image. And then this generates us just a professional looking person, real estate agent, marketer, coach, just in formal clothing. And this can be used for a variety of different apps. The principle of the design here is a familiar face. So we're looking for a friendly, smiling person in formal attire that looks like they could be just your average real estate agent. So we have that picture here. We're going to go ahead and download it and then add it to our asset library here. All right, so now that we have this image here, we can generate a couple more assets that we'll need for the design. So the design I had in mind would be using a hand in the image. This is a good design principle to use in general, as it emphasizes urgency and is a great way to visually direct the audience to your offer. So I'll be taking this prompt here and putting it into ChatGPT. Generate me an image of a hand pointing. And then this should be your outcome right here. And so we want to download this image and then add it to our assets folder as well here. And you can see that since we're generating all the images in the same prompt, the hand looks like it belongs to him as well. It's the same suit color. So this is just another image asset that would be useful to have. And then finally, we can generate the background. So we can go into our page here and type this in. And of course, you can adjust the details of the prompt as well. But these are generic prompts used for the type of niche that our company markets to, which is real estate agents. Now we have our background. It's very minimal. But if we ever want to do a more text-focused design, this would be a good asset to have and use in the future. So we can store it in our asset library here. And now we have the fundamental assets we need to start our design. And you can always generate more assets along the way as you go, but it's helpful to get a foundation of the couple of things you need at first before beginning the design. So this is the part you've all been waiting for. It's actually designing your lead magnet. So follow these simple steps and use our pre-made Canva templates as a base for you to start designing. And now that you have this page with all of the tools you've gathered throughout this lesson, it'll be very easy to design from here on, which is why we structure our lesson this way. So we can go back here, and the first step is to open the template link in an incognito page. So the template link right here will lead you to this steal our lead magnet page. And you should be familiar with this page. We've referred to it throughout the document here, right here. That's how we got our original lead magnet copy in the beginning, right here, was from the template right here. So then we're going to be scrolling down in the template to the offer that we're using. So you can use all these offers. Ours is going to be listings with AI. So we take this Canva template and then we copy the link in an incognito window. And then you use the template for a new design. First of all here, we're just going to scroll through the templates. We had a couple options here. I'm going to find the one that relates to my offer the most. So I'm looking for an offer that is 30 listings. That's what it says in my copy here, 30 listings every month. And so there's a similar one here, 30 automated listings with AI. So we can go ahead and use this design as a base and then just replace the assets with ours. So what you're going to want to do first is import all the assets you created and organize together in that document onto the left side here. I also generated a couple other backgrounds as well as some real estate agents. You could obviously replace these pictures with stock photos or pictures of your clients, things like that. So I like the design of this in general. It's very eye-catching, and then the text is very prominently shown here. But we want to make it related specifically to our offer. So the first thing we're going to be doing is taking the hand. And as you noticed here, there's a background on this. There's an easy way to remove this. You can either type into the ChatGPT prompt to generate it with a transparent background, or you can go here to just search for a background remover. Adobe is the best free tool online to do it. Then you want to simply upload your photo here, like so. And then there's a feature to remove background right here. And this is a very helpful tool whenever you use assets from anywhere, because likely you don't want the background they're using. So this is good to have the element separated, and you can go ahead and just download it like that. Very simple. And then you can move it into Canva like this. And then now you have a transparent hand to use instead. And for the design, since the hand is dark, and as well here, we're going to be removing this and adding in our get listings button. These elements are dark, so then the background is making it really hard to read these. So we have to change the background to match it accordingly. And good thing we already generated a background to use instead, which is very clean. So that'll be a good replacement here. So we're going to import our white background. Then we can replace the background like that. And wow, that already looks a lot better. So simple design principles of making sure that your text is legible with enough contrast. And how we usually do that is by adding drop shadows and outlines. So if you go here to the layers, you can see that these effects are repeating. Because in Canva, you can only have one effect at a time. But in order to make it easily legible for all text, I would recommend duplicating your text and then putting in the effect of a lift. This will allow it to stand out from the page a little bit, as you can notice with the shadow here. So that's what we do more. And then we're going to want to go here next. And then change this text as well. Since we changed the background, it's harder to read now. Black text works well. 30 automated listings. So then we're going to go back to reference the document we made earlier right here, which has all of our AI generated copy. So for the final draft, we decided on these elements. The attention grabber will be real estate agents stop chasing. The main offer will be 30 leads per month with zero upfront cost. And then the call to action is get listings now. So let's incorporate all of these elements into our design. So here, instead of automated listings, we can change it to monthly listings. All right, so we have the monthly listings here, but it's also a little hard to read. So a little trick we can do is copy and paste this, put it directly over, and then add in a lift. And that'll make the text stand out a little more and make it easier to read. Now that we have these elements set, we're just going to adjust it a little bit. We want to adjust the other text to match as well. So our offer is specifically 30 plus monthly listings. So we want to go to the 30 here. Add in a plus. We might have to reformat this and resize it a little bit. to get it to fit aesthetically onto the page. Yep, like that. And we also want to change this other text to match. So our offer is going to be 0 upfront cost. So we need to organize the text a little bit to adjust it accordingly. And then we want to make the text more visible. We can add in a lift here. And this text is a little small relative to it, so we might have to play around with the design a little bit. So we can do 0. And then try to just play around with the elements to where it's aesthetically pleasing, and then the call to action is very clear. And sometimes your offer is going to be a little bit wordy, so it's a skill in trying to get all the information onto the page and have it be legible still. So the process just requires some tweaking throughout. For example, if we want a big text here to emphasize the numbers, make this one white or a clear color like red for contrast. So we have this so far for our design, right? It's a little messy, it's a little cluttered, so let's try to... Okay, so this design is missing something on the left side of the screen. Good thing we have plenty of templates that you can use. If you go back to our Steal Our Lead Magnet ad, we made a really good template here for $0 ad spend. And this template has a device with a phone on it. And so you can use this in your other designs as well and customize the messages here. So we want to move this over to our current design. And you should end up with something like this. Then you can resize it. So this is essentially the design I came up with in a matter of minutes. You can definitely polish and tweak it more than this, but this is a general gist of how to design. And if you're using Canva Premium, which we have a link attached to in this course, you can add your personal brands and fonts here to save so that it's easier to design in the future. You would add your brand photos here, the ones we generated, your graphics, icons, things like that. So it's all organized in the Canva Premium here. And Canva Premium also has a bunch of other features as well. An office for backgrounds. Can mess around with it, find one that looks appropriate. This one looks pretty good. And then you can adjust it a little accordingly. Just make sure that when you're changing the background, all the text is still visible. So I ended up deciding on this background here, which makes the most sense with the image. And now we have to adjust the text to make it easier to read. So we go here to the 30. Then we can add an effect such as an outline like that. That already helps a lot. You can do the same with the 0 here. Yeah, you want to make sure none of the elements are overlapping each other. This phone is slightly on the 0. So let's move. And the last thing we want to do is fix the text here. So we can mess around with the fonts too. Maybe other fonts are easier at a glance. So we just want to move these elements around until we get a nice coherent whole. We're keeping the colors to a minimal just to highlight the essential things. The text is big, 30 plus monthly listings is the offer headline. The call out is real estate agents, $0 upfront, and then get listings now. So now that we've completed these steps, which was to replace the placeholder text, colors, images, and logos, we're going to want to go ahead and go back to our design here, and then press share, and then download. And then we're going to download just the current page that we're working on right here. And then hit download, and it's going to download as a PNG. And then you can use this lead magnet design you just created on several different social media platforms and for different uses.
So due to popular demand, we're going to be adding in this section to the video. Why you should use UGC in your own photos. An effective strategy that we found is using your own photos within your lead magnet design. This helps build trust fast and it helps feel real to your audience. This way, it gets more clicks and conversions as well. People want to be buying from a familiar face, and you are the face of your brand. So we want to be including some designs that include your face as well. So we have a variety of tips for taking photos. We recommend using various gestures, props, and clothing. I'll be doing a quick example for you guys to see using some of Vico's photos. So if you scroll through our album, you can see that we have a variety of selfies in this one dedicated album for making YouTube thumbnails. This is just plain selfies in front of a background that can be used for any sort of graphic design. So let's take a look at some of these photos and see what we can use. So here's some examples of some good photos to use. We recommend dedicating just one day to taking a lot of photos that you can use for different assets. We recommend bringing a change of shirts so that it can seem like you're taking the photos on different days. We also want you to include a variety of hand movements, especially pointing in certain directions, such as looking upwards is a popular one, looking left and right. The hand gestures are very important. The goal of this is versatility. You want to be able to use these photos in multiple settings. It's another asset that we can keep in our asset library. So we want a variety of hand gestures as well as facial expressions. You can make some angry faces, sad, serious, curious. These are all emotions that are very strong and people resonate with well. So seeing your face quickly pop up in their feed with a surprised look can be eye-catching enough to work well in your lead magnet design. So another element that we recommend including in your photo shoot here for taking UGC photos is the use of props right here. A plain whiteboard is very effective. It gives you space to put any graphic here in the future, especially these ones where you can see how this would already be a good base for a lead magnet. Just putting an interesting offer here, an eye-catching image, can get people to stop the scroll and click on your ad. So here's a bunch of other good examples here. We recommend shooting on a plain white background for the best results because we're going to want to remove this background later in the process anyways. You want to make sure that you have enough lighting too and you're looking directly at the camera, as well as making sure that none of your limbs are cropped out in the photo so that your entire body is visible in the frame. You would also want to take photos from a variety of different angles, as well as different distances away from you. You might want some close-up photos like this, or you might want some full body shots like these ones. Another good prop to have would also be to add money, or sometimes a smartphone, any device that you can point to. These are a lot of good photos that I can see being used in different purposes, especially something like this. You can play around with the empty space around you. Here in this folder, we have hundreds of examples alone. Here are the ones with the phone. So I'm just going to be taking one of these images and showing you guys how to implement it into a template. So we can look for an eye-catching image. For example, this one catches my eye. You can go ahead and download it. And then we follow the same steps as I covered earlier in the video, where if we want to remove a background, we simply type in background remover. And then we can go to this Adobe Express option here. And it's very simple. You can go ahead and just drag the photo, and Adobe will go ahead and process that. And you can use this app for a variety of different effects too, but mainly we use it to remove the background. And by the end, your image should look like this. And it's ready to download with a transparent background. And now that we have our UGC image, we can go here to our steal our lead magnet. Again, this is going to be right here in step 3 as we covered earlier, the link to the document. So you go to this document here, and then we're going to be using this template as an example. Under the 60 appraisals, we have a variety of templates here. So we're going to look for one with a familiar face, maybe something like this. Get 20 seller leads in 1 week. So we'll use a template for a new design. We'll go to File here, and then we'll make a copy to save it to our Canva. Then we'll go ahead and work on the copy. So we'll scroll down to the template we want to use. We can make a copy of the template that we want to use. I want to make a copy of this 20 plus seller leads here. And then we can simply take out the photo and then replace it with the removed background photo. And from here, it's very simple. You can just plug yourself in and then resize it a little bit. So if we go back to the template here, we'll notice that she's pointing at this angle here and our hands are a little too close. So we'll look for a photo that better resembles that. So that's why it's good to have a bunch of different photos and angles and facial expressions, just so that you have enough options. So I stumbled across this photo, which looks pretty good to me. He has a very exaggerated expression and the hand movements are good. So I'll go ahead and download that photo and then repeat the same process of removing the background. So after importing our image here, can remove the background. And we can resize it as well. And then download. And we can go back to our design here and add the image in. And then replace this one. Okay, this already looks eye-catching. He's not pointing directly at it, so we can tilt it a little bit. And we can increase the size and lower it. Okay, now his hands are pointing directly at the image. And another tip we can do here is we can go to edit. Then we can go to adjust. And usually you would want to increase the brightness to make it a little more visible. And then we can also increase the vibrancy a little bit as well, since he's coming off a little pale in this photo. Yeah, to a natural looking amount. That looks good to me. And then another tip too for graphic design here in Canva is that, so you're going to want to go to shadows here, and then you're going to want to add a glow. And usually white works best in every scenario, but you could also change it to be another color that's matching your design, such as green here, red here, or blue here. So in this case, we'll go with red since it has good contrast to the background as well. And then we can adjust the intensity, the size, and the blur amount until it looks natural. We don't want it to be too obvious, just enough to highlight him and separate him from the background. So once we're satisfied with how that shadow looks, we can go ahead and update the text. For example, if we want to do 30 seller leads in 1 month, we can just simply change it like that. And there you go. We have our custom ad here built from this template. And then same process as the other ones, we can go ahead and hit share, download, and then just download the current page we're working on, which is page 8 here. And then you have another design ready to go. So once you're satisfied with your design and you have it downloaded, we can come back here to our lead magnet design page where we've gathered all of our other assets like so. And then we can also add in the selfies as well as the last design we did, just to have as a reference in one place. And this is helpful as well since you'll be using your picture in a variety of designs. So keeping the selfies you took with the background removed in the assets page is very useful and time saving in the future.
Yeah, so export and upload it, and then go through the final design checklist too, which is going to be, does it grab attention and stop the scroll? Does it solve a problem or clearly highlight a strong benefit? Is the next step obvious? So let's take a look at our design and see if it goes through that checklist. Does it solve a problem or clearly highlight a strong benefit? Yes, you get 30 monthly listings here and $0 upfront. Those are both very strong benefits. And is the next step obvious to your audience? Yes. The listings, it says get listings now. So if they want the 30 monthly listings, you press here. And then the call to action on Facebook is already on the bottom right. So yes, this design passes all the checklists. So now that you know how to create designs easily from our templates, let's move on to the next section, which is designing your template from scratch. So for those of you who want to do it from scratch, I can walk you through that process. So how to do that is we're going to go here on the left side and create a design. And then we want a custom size. And typically for Facebook ads, we use a square aspect ratio. So it's going to be 1080 by 1080 here. It's similar to the process with a template. We already have our assets gathered, so it'll be a lot easier to do from here on. So the first thing that we would want to use would be earlier, the lead magnet design document. So this one has all the copy, remember, that we generated for the Facebook post, the attention grabbers, the offer headline, the call to action. And so this is where the AI generated templates come into play. So you can use this as a very clear reference for your Canva design right here. So we already have all the elements uploaded here of this design. So you can make a new page and try to emulate this design or something similar to this. So we have our real estate agent. I'm just going to use this lady here, for example. And then we can place her here like that. We already have our other elements too, such as the call to action that we can place here like that. And then now we just need to add the text, right? So we can add a title here. And then what is our call to action if we're referring back to this document? The final one we chose was real estate agents stop chasing. So we'll go ahead and write that here. Real estate agents. Move that to the top. And then add a separate line. Stop chasing. And then we can refer back to our document again for the other portions, which are going to be right here. 30 plus leads monthly, 0 upfront cost. Right, so 30 plus monthly leads. $0 upfront cost. Okay, so that's essentially what this advertisement template we have is here. So we already have a good reference for this, how you would want to structure it. And they make good use of empty space here, as you can see. So what we're going to want to do is emulate the structure. Real estate agents is going to be at the very top. You can add the stop chasing right here. And then you can format it like the two for readability, 30 plus leads monthly. Then 0. $0 upfront cost. And the goal is to just make the design look nice. We already have all the separate elements here. So we can add this background as well, or we can use some of the Canva backgrounds that are available in Premium. And then we just want to make the text stand out. So a lot of times you want to use a big, bold font that's easily readable and pops out. And then you want to pick the colors according to your background to make it easily readable. And you could also change the colors of keywords to make it pop out. Like that. You just want to adjust the rest of the font to look nice. You can play around with the fonts here, see which ones look good and bold. Try to keep it to 2 fonts maximum too in any given design. This design is already looking good and we just started on it. So this is our simple design so far. We want to add another element that is very easily recognizable for our audience, which is real estate agents. So we added a familiar face here. And what do real estate agents like to see? They like to see leads. They like to see closed deals. They like to see sold houses. So we can put some iconography of that there. I prepared this image here of a house for sale on a laptop. It's similar to the process with the Mach-U phone. There's ways to generate mockups with laptops. And so I want to include that element in my design. And so I'll put it at the bottom here with a sold sign. The other things here. Okay. It's a little bit too much text. I compared this one to this one. This one's definitely easier to read. So let's try to emulate some of the principles here. So let's look for some better backgrounds to add here, because it's a little plain with our previous background. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this photo here. And this looks pretty good. It focuses her as well as the listings. The iconography is very clear, so when you're scrolling past, you can stop and see it. Now all this left to do is change the text to be easily readable. Or we can always just use a solid color that's very bold and easy to read as well. So we'll keep that like that. And we'll add an outline to this one. We could also add another effect here, which is a background that 100% guarantees that it's easy to read. And this is effective when the background's a little chaotic, or you want to structure it in a way that's easier to read. So this text here can be improved to be easier to read. You can copy it here, and we can add a lift so it stands out a bit. Another technique too is also to go to elements here, search for the rectangle, come here, and then you would want to make the rectangle black. You can put it across the entire screen in size here, and then you want to turn the opacity down a little bit. And then now when you show all the layers, you can put it in the back to separate your audience and text from the background a little bit, like a silhouette. So it's more bold. And then also too, when you're moving objects with a bunch of pieces together like this, you can press on them and then group them together to make it so that they're easier to move. And now that we have this base going, we can change the colors here. And then maybe just highlight the keywords. And then it's just about some fine adjustments to get it to the final product. And after a bit of tweaking here and there, this is the final product that we end up with. So this was a really helpful foundation for designing this ad. And yeah, here's the process if you design from scratch. So what we've seen from our research is that other ads targeted towards agents follow a similar format of this. It all, of course, depends on your offer and your target audience. What we've found works for targeting real estate agents is these ads with pins in the background here, as well as sold signs, examples of listings, things like that. So yeah, here's a design that we made with a template. Here's a design that we made from scratch. And these are all quickly done. You can do similar designs for yourself as well with your assets. The points are essentially the same, building from scratch as using the template. You want to first gather your resources like we did in the beginning of the document and have them all ready, and then you can just plug them into your design and change it accordingly. So the things to keep in mind is to maintain a lot of empty space within the design so that it's easily legible, and to keep it focused towards the offer, as well as the attention grabber and the call to action. So those are the three main things. And once we have our design ready, here we can go ahead and download it. So you're going to want to download the second one here. And then you're going to want to go back to that document that we compiled earlier, which has all of your examples here. And then we can create a new section here called Designs. And then you can plug in the two designs that you had just made. This one here, and then So now you have two examples of designs. So this is it for the lead magnet research and design lesson of this module. Now that you have all the tools ready, it's time to take action. So the first step you would want to do is finish creating and designing your lead magnet. So follow all the steps above, and you could use our link here for a 30-day free trial of Canva Pro to start designing. So the next step would be to share it in our school community. So we have a bunch of members in our school community. We like to encourage each other and keep each other accountable. So you can see in the wins here, people posting their results, their success after starting to work with us and implementing our strategies. So for your next step here, I want you to create the design following the structure we laid out for you, and then to share it in our school community and tag Vico. And then you can copy this script here. Just say something on the lines of just finishing my lead magnet. It's designed to help your audience with problems your lead magnet solves. And say that you'd like some feedback. And Vico and the team will personally give you a free audit on your lead magnet, tell you what to change, how to improve it, what are some good elements and things that you should include. Step 3 is to join our elite community and level up your business. If you want hands-on help, one-on-one coaching, exclusive access to additional courses and resources, then join our elite community here. It's available with the link. You'll get exclusive access to all of these resources to help get your business started. Thank you. Hope this lesson was helpful.